Robert Isner is an American professional tennis player and is considered to be one of the greatest servers the game has ever seen. He achieved his career-high singles ranking of world number 9 in April 2012, and is currently the highest-ranked male American tennis player at world number 11, as of June 2014. In 2013, he became the 18th player to serve more than 5,000 aces on the ATP World Tour. He currently has 16th most aces in the history of ATP, having served more than 5,500 aces. At the 2010 Wimbledon Championships, he played the longest professional tennis match in history, defeating Nicolas Mahut in a total of 11 hours and 5 minutes of play over the course of 3 days. He also played the then 10th longest singles match, a 5-hour 41-minute encounter in the second round of the 2012 French Open. Professional career, 2007. Isner began his professional career in earnest in the summer of 2007. With a world ranking of number 839, he needed wildcard entries into the main draws of every tournament, even at the futures level. He won his first tournament of the fall, the USAF 14 Futures, beating the top 3 seeds along the way. Then, after first-round losses in a Challenger level and an ATP level tournament, he beat 5 top 300 players and 3 seeds to win the Lexington Challenger in July to improve his ranking to number 416 after just 1 month. At the following week's tournament at the Legg Mason Tennis Classic in Washington, D.C., Fernando Gonzalez's late withdrawal freed a wildcard spot, which was given at the last minute to Isner. Isner took full advantage of his good fortune, recording his first wins over top 100 players. He won third-set tiebreakers on 5 consecutive days, beating number 73 Tim Henman, number 47 Benjamin Becker, number 189 qualifier Wayne Odesnik, number 12 Tommy Haas, and number 54 Gaël Monfils, to reach the final, where he fell to fellow American Andy Roddick. His week raised his ranking to number 193 in the world after 6 weeks on the Pro Tour. Isner's Washington success earned him wildcard entries into 3 more ATP tournaments, the Masters Series event in Cincinnati a week later, New Haven, and the US Open. He lost in the first round in Cincinnati to quarter-finalist number 15 David Ferrer. The following week in New Haven, he beat number 49 Becker a second time, before falling to Ferrer for the second week in a row. In his US Open debut, he defeated the 26th-seeded player, former quarter-finalist Jarko Niemann, and fired 34 aces along the way. He proceeded to win his second-round match versus Rick DeVoist, before losing in the third round to top seed and eventual champion Roger Federer. Isner was one of only 2 players to take a set from Federer in the championship. His US Open performance improved his ranking to number 144. After the US Open, Isner continued to play exclusively in North America and finished the year ranked number 107. That year, Isner was added to the United States Davis Cup team as a practice partner. 2008, Isner's number 106 ranking in November 2007 was just good enough to get him direct entry into his first Australian Open, after several players ranked above him dropped out. He was defeated in the first round of the 2008 Australian Open by veteran Fabrice Santoro of France. Teamed with Croat Ivo Karlovic, Isner also lost in the first round of doubles. Isner broke into the top 100 at number 93 in February with a quarter-final appearance at the ATP event in San Jose, beating number 90 Florent Serra and number 26 Tommy Haas. He maintained a top 100 ranking in the first 3 months of the year, beating 6 players in the top 100, while playing exclusively in ATP-level events. Isner played in his first French Open and Wimbledon, losing in the first round of each. He also played in the US Open, where he lost in the first round. He ended the year ranked number 144 in the world. 2009, reaching the top 40, Isner qualified for the singles draw of the 2009 Heineken Open in Auckland, after winning 3 consecutive 3-set matches in qualifying. His final match saw him bounce back from a 0-3 deficit in the third set to eventually beat Brazilian Thomas Bellucci in a tiebreaker. In the main draw, Isner beat Albert Monte plus or minus a copyright S and countryman Robbie Ginpré, before bowing out in the quarter-finals to Robin Delling. Isner received a wild-card entry into the 2009 Australian Open, after winning the United States Tennis Association's wildcard tournament, beating Donald Young and Jesse Levine along the way. Despite serving 39 aces against his first-round opponent, Slovakia's Dominik Hrbata 1/2, he lost in 4 sets. Isner began working with new coach, Craig Boynton, who had previously coached former world number 1 Jim Courier in the 1990s, in March 2009. At the 2009 Indian Wells tournament, Isner pulled off a major upset by defeating 9th seed Gaël Monfils. This was Isner's first win over a top 10 player, after 4 previous defeats. He then went on to defeat former world number 1 Marat Safin, before losing to world number 6 Juan Martín del Potro in the 4th round. In April 2009 at the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships in Houston, Texas at River Oaks Country Club, Isner made it as far as the quarterfinals, where he was defeated by fellow American Wayne Odesnik. Isner qualified for the French Open, but had to withdraw after being diagnosed with mononucleosis, which caused him to miss Wimbledon as well. In August 2009, he defeated world number 7 Jo-Wilfried Tsonga and world number 18 Tommaso Berdych en route to the semi-finals of the ATP World Tour 500 event in Washington, before losing to world number 5 Andy Roddick. This performance brought him to a career-high ranking of number 55 and a special exemption into the Masters 1000 Series event in Montreal, where he defeated Jesse Levine, before losing to Mikhail Yuzny. He earned a wildcard into the Masters 1000 Series event in Cincinnati, where he defeated world number 21 Tommy Haas, before losing to world number 35 Ra Machadi in the 2nd round. Unseeded and ranked number 55 in the world entering the U.S. Open, Isner defeated world number 29 Victor Hraflorenescu in the 1st round, which was his first win in a Grand Slam tournament since the 2007 U.S. Open, ending a streak of 6 consecutive defeats. He then advanced to the 3rd round, where he defeated world number 5 and fellow American Andy Roddick in 5 sets for his first victory over Roddick, his first victory in a 5-set match, and the first time he advanced past the 3rd round of a Grand Slam tournament. He was then defeated in the 4th round by world number 10 Fernando Verdasco in 4 sets. His U.S. Open performance brought his ranking to a career-high number 39. After playing in Vienna, Basel, and the Paris Masters, Isner finished the year at a career-high number 34 in the world. He has credited his work with Boynton for helping him get back on track following his disappointing 2008 season. His progress was acknowledged by his peers, as he was voted the ATP Most Improved Player for 2009, becoming the 10th American to win the award, and the first since Andre Agassi in 1998. 2010, first ATP title. Isner began the year at the 2010 Heineken Open in Auckland. Unseeded, he reached his 2nd career ATP final and first since Washington in 2007. In the final, he saved a championship point to defeat 2001 Australian Open finalist Arnaud Copyright-Ment. The victory in Auckland was Isner's first ATP Tour title. After the victory he donated $5,000 of his winnings to aid rescue action for the 2010 Haiti earthquake. The victory catapulted Isner into the top 30 for the first time and also allowed him to surpass Sam Querrey to become the 2nd highest-ranked American for the first time, behind only Andy Roddick. Isner said he intended to finish the year in the top 20, and given his ascendancy in the world rankings combined with the absence of Roddick and James Blake for the 2010 Davis Cup season, it became increasingly likely that Isner would qualify to play singles for the U.S. Davis Cup team for the first time in his career. After Gillis Simon withdrew, Isner became the final seed for the 2010 Australian Open. In the 1st round, he defeated world number 49 Andrea Seppi for his first victory at the Australian Open and his first victory at a Grand Slam other than the US Open. He then advanced to the round of 16, before losing to world number 4 and eventual finalist Andy Murray. After the Australian Open, Davis Cup captain Patrick McEnroe announced that Isner and Curry would be first and second singles on the 2010 United States Davis Cup team for the team's 2010 Davis Cup World Group first-round match in Serbia on indoor clay in March 2010. Isner described the selection as a dream come true. Isner next entered the 2010 Regions Morgan Keegan Championships in Memphis. Seeded 6th, he made it to the finals, before losing to Sam Curry. In the doubles event, Isner teamed up with Curry to win the tournament, defeating British-Australian pair of Ross Hutchins and Jordan Kerr. Prior to the Davis Cup tie, Isner competed at the 2010 Abierto Mexicano Telcel Championships, an ATP World Tour 500 Series event on clay, where he was the 5th seed. He lost in the first round to Simon Grohl. Despite the loss, Isner following the tournament moved into the top 20 for the first time. Isner appeared at the 2010 Davis Cup first round, where USA was up against Serbia. In his 2 singles matches, he faced Serbia's team of world number 2 Novak Djokovic and world number 35 Viktor Troicki. He lost the first singles match against Viktor Troicki, but bounced back by winning the doubles match with Bob Bryan, as a replacement for food poison Mike Bryan. In his second singles match, he lost to Novak Djokovic, which enabled Serbia to defeat the United States. At the 2010 BNP Paribas Open Masters 1000 in Indian Wells, he was seeded 15th and advanced to the 4th round, before losing to world number 2 and defending champion Rafael Nadal. Afterwards, he appeared in the second Masters Series tournament of the season, the 2010 Sony Ericsson Open Masters 1000 in Miami as the 17th seed. He advanced to the 3rd round, before losing to 12th seed Juan Carlos Ferrero. Isner began the clay court season with an opening round loss to world number 89 Xavier Malisse at the U.S. Men's Clay Championship, followed by a round of 32 showing at his first ever Rome Masters, where he defeated Horacio Zeballos, before losing to Thomas Bilucki. However, he teamed with Curry to reach the doubles final in Rome, before losing to Bob and Mike Bryan. His doubles performance raised his doubles ranking to the top 30 for the first time. His next tournament was the 2010 Serbian Open, where he was the 2nd seed behind defending champion, tournament host, and world number 2 Djokovic. Isner advanced to the first clay court final of his career, 3rd final of the year, and 4th final of his career. In the final, he lost to Curry, despite having a match point while serving up 6-3, 5-4. This was the 2nd consecutive final Isner lost to Curry after serving for the championship. However, Isner's finals performance improved his ranking to a career-high number 19. Isner's next tournament was his debut appearance at the Madrid Masters. Seeded 13th, he advanced to the round of 16, before losing to world number 3 and eventual champion Nadal. Isner then played in the 2010 French Open. His ranking assured his first direct seed into a Grand Slam event. Seeded 17th, he defeated Andrei Golubev in the first round for his first singles victory at the French Open. He advanced to the 3rd round, before losing to number 15 seed and eventual semi-finalist Tomaso Berdych. In doubles, he and Curry were the 12th seeds, but withdrew prior to the start of the tournament after Curry's first-round loss in singles. Despite being ranked number 19 in the world entering the Wimbledon, Isner was seeded 24th by the tournament committee due to his lack of experience on grass, but was moved up to 23rd following the withdrawal of Raid Kangstrom Tapernek. In the first round, Isner played Nicolas Mahut in the longest match in tennis history, prevailing 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70-68. However, fatigued and having little time to recover his energy, Isner was beaten by Thiemo de Backer in the 2nd round, 0-6, 3-6, 2-6, having served no aces. He also pulled out of the doubles, where he and Curry had been 12th seeds. Despite having been eliminated in the 2nd round, Isner's total of 113 aces were more than any other player throughout the championship. His Wimbledon performance brought his ranking to a career-high number 18 in the world. Isner's next tournament was the 2010 Atlanta Tennis Championships, where he played doubles with James Blake and reached the semi-finals. In singles, Isner was second seed and made it to his fourth final of the year, before losing to Mardy Fish, which dropped his career record in finals to €1-4. Isner next competed at the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, the ATP World Tour 500 Series event in Washington, D.C. in sight of his breakthrough performance in 2007. Isner was also to compete in the doubles with Sam Querrey, but withdrew due to shoulder concerns. Seeded fifth in singles, Isner made it to the round of 16, before losing to Xavier Malisse. Isner next played in the Cincinnati Masters, where he was unseeded. After defeating Angstrom Erkazkibot in the first round, he faced 2002 Wimbledon finalist and 2005 Tennis Masters Cup champion David Nalbandian, but was forced to retire up a break at €5-4 in the first set after injuring his right ankle. Although Isner was found to have suffered ligament damage to the ankle, he chose not to withdraw from the US Open singles tournament. At the 2010 US Open, Isner was 18th seed and defeated Federico Gil in the first round. After the match he revealed that although the initial diagnosis was a right ankle ligament tear, a second opinion revealed that the damage was a strain and not a tear, and he declared his ankle 90% healed. He then advanced to the third round, before losing to 12th seed and 2006 US Open semi-finalist Mikhail Yuzny. The loss dropped Isner out of the top 20, and from the number 2 to the number 4 ranked American player. Due to his ankle injury, he chose not to compete in doubles. Following the US Open, Isner participated with Mardy Fish and Sam Querrey in the Davis Cup tie against Colombia, winning the doubles match with Fish as his partner. The US won the match 3-1 to remain in the 2011 Davis Cup World Group. Isner was next granted a wild card to participate in the 2010 China Open, his first time competing in Beijing. In doubles, he teamed with Querrey, losing in the first round to Bob and Mike Bryan. In singles, Isner was unseeded, but made it to the semi-finals, before losing to world number 2 and defending champion Novak Djokovic 6-7, 2-6. Isner next competed in the Shanghai Masters, where he was unseeded, and made it to the second round, before losing to world number 3 and reigning Australian Open champion Roger Federer in their first meeting since the 2007 US Open. 2011, second and third ATP titles. Isner began the year by teaming with Bethany Matk-Sands to win the mixed doubles Hopman Cup final for the US, defeating Belgium's Justine Henin and Ruben Beememans. Following his win in Perth, Isner returned to Auckland to defend his ATP title at the 2011 Heineken Open. After a bye in his first round, the third seed faced Dutch world number 52 Robin Haas. Isner defeated Haas to go through to the quarter-finals, where he was defeated by David Nalbandian in straight sets. Isner next played in the 2011 Australian Open. He entered the tournament seeded 20th and received a tough draw, including Raid Angstrom Tapernek, Marin Oeia, and Rafael Nadal. Isner came up against French world number 69 Florent Serra, whom he easily defeated. Isner faced Raid Angstrom Tapernek in the second round. After losing the first set, Isner rallied to defeat Stepanek to progress into the third round. In the third round, Isner faced fellow top 20 player Marin Oeia. The match went to 5 sets, with Cilic emerging as the eventual winner. At the 2011 French Open, Isner was drawn against top seed and defending champion Rafael Nadal. Isner took a 2-1 lead against Nadal, who had never played a 5-set match at Roland Garros before. Nadal went on to win the title. In the 2011 Wimbledon men's singles draw, Isner was paired against Mahut in the first round, a rematch of the world's longest match from the previous year's tournament. Isner won in straight sets. However, he lost in the second round to the 16th seed Nicolas Mahut in 4 sets, dropping his 2011 record to 11-14. Isner next took a last-minute wild card to participate in the 2011 Hall of Fame Tennis Championships, replacing compatriot and defending champion Mardy Fish, who was chosen to play in the Davis Cup for the United States during that weekend. Isner was the top seed and defeated Carol Beck, 2001 Australian Open finalist Arnaud Clacopy-Right Ment, Alex Bogomolov, Jr., and Tobias Kamp without dropping a set, to reach his first career grass court final. In the final, he defeated Olivier Rochus to become the first top seed in 35 years to win the event. The title was his first of 2011 and second of his career, and ended a three-match losing streak in finals. The championship raised Isner's world ranking from number 48 to number 36. Isner next played in the 2011 Atlanta Tennis Championships, where he was the third seed. He defeated James Blake, Liu Yensun, and Gilles Mahut one quarter later to reach his second consecutive tour final. In the final, he faced Mardy Fish in a rematch of the 2010 final. Isner was ultimately defeated by Fish. He then reached the semi-finals of the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, defeating Tobias Kamp, James Blake, Victor Troicki, before losing to Gaël Monfils. At the Rogers Cup, Isner defeated Marcos Baghdatis, but lost to Victor Troicki in the second round. Isner won the Winston-Salem Open as the fourth seed, defeating Dudai Sela, Jarko Niemann, Marcos Baghdatis, and Andy Roddick in the semi-finals, before defeating Julian Benneteau in the final. In the 2011 US Open, Isner defeated Marcos Baghdatis, Robbie Ginpré, Alex Bogomolov, Jr., and Gilles Simon in the way to his first Grand Slam quarter-final. There, he was defeated by Andy Murray. Isner reached the semi-finals at the Masters 1000 in Paris, where he held 3 match points before losing to Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the semi-finals. The result brought him back into the world top 20. He finished the year ranked number 18, his second consecutive year-end top 20 ranking, and his highest year-end ranking to date. 2012, reaching top 10 and first Masters final. Isner defeated David Nalbandian in the second round of the 2012 Australian Open in a 5-set match, but was defeated in the third round by Feliciano Lacubde-Pez. He beat world number 3 Roger Federer in Switzerland in the Davis Cup first round, as well as beating Marco Chiodinelli in another singles rubber, to help propel the US team to victory over the Swiss. He then reached the final of the Indian Wells Masters by beating world number 1 Novak Djokovic in 3 sets in the semi-finals, before being defeated by Federer in straight sets in the final. Isner also reached a doubles final of the same tournament partnering Sam Querrey. In the US Davis Cup quarter-finals against France, Isner defeated Gilles Simon in the first live rubber of the tie in straight sets. 2 days later, Isner clinched the tie and propelled the United States into the semi-finals by defeating French number 1 Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in 4 sets. A week before Roland Garros, he was top seed in Nice, but was upset by Nikolay Davydenko in the quarter-finals. In the 2012 French Open, he defeated Roger copyright Rio Dutra da Silva in the first round before being defeated by wildcard Paul-Henri Mathieu in the second round, 6-7, 6-4, 6-4, 3-6, 18-16 in the second longest ever Roland Garros match at 5 hours and 41 minutes. In the Wimbledon Championships, he was the 11th seed. However, he was upset by 73rd ranked Alejandro Falla in 5 sets, being eliminated in the first round. If he had won this match, he would have gone on to face Mahut for the third straight year. He beat Mahut 6-2, 7-6 at the Hall of Fame Tennis Championships in July, on his way to winning the championship for the second consecutive year. Isner reached the semi-finals at the 2012 Atlanta Tennis Championships, losing to Andy Roddick. Isner defeated Milos Raonic in the Rogers Cup quarter-finals and played Richard Gasquet for a place in the final, but lost. Isner was chosen to be on special London 2012 Coke cans. Isner lost in the quarter-finals of the Olympics to the runner-up Roger Federer. Isner won his second title of the year at the 2012 Winston-Salem Open, defeating Tomaso Berdych in the final. It was the second consecutive year that he won the title at Winston-Salem. At the US Open he lost in the third round to Philipp Kohlschreiber, 2013, 6th, 7th ATP titles and second Masters final. Isner was seeded first in Sydney, but he lost in the second round to Ryan Harrison in straight sets. He did not appear at the 2013 Australian Open the following week because of a bone bruise in his right knee. Isner won his sixth ATP title and first on clay, defeating Nicolas Mahut in the U.S. Clay Court Championships final in Houston. At the Monte Carlo Masters, he was eliminated in the first round. He also made early exits in Madrid and Rome. At the French Open, Isner recovered from 2 sets down in his first round match to beat Ryan Harrison 8-6 in the fifth set. The next day, Isner once again recovered from 2 sets down to level the match, this time against Tommy Haas, saving a record 12 match points in the fourth set. However, Isner then let a 4-2 lead slip and failed to convert a match point of his own while leading 5-4, and Haas eventually won the fifth set 10-8. At the 2013 Top Shelf Open in Herzogenbosch, Isner went out in the first round, defeated by young Russian Evgeny Donskoy. At Wimbledon, Isner was injured and had to retire during his second-round match against Frenchman Adrien Manarino, after avenging himself on Donskoy in the first round. In July, Isner won his second title of the year and his first in Atlanta, after appearing twice before in the final. He defeated Kevin Anderson in the final in a 3-tiebreak match, which was billed as the tallest final in ATP history, their combined heights adding up to 13 feet, 6 inches. In Washington, he reached a final and lost to Juan Martín del Potro after winning the first set. At the 2013 Rogers Cup in Montreux Copyright Al, Isner lost in the first round to the Canadian No. 2 Vasek Pospisil, who went on to reach the semi-finals. He won the first set, 7-5, but then lost 2 tiebreaks. During a busy summer, he reached another final in Cincinnati, beating Richard Gasquet and then 3 top 10 players in a row, first Milos Raonic, then Novak Djokovic, then Juan Martín del Potro in the semi-finals for the first time. He lost to Rafael Nadal in his second Masters 1000 final and subsequently pulled out of the Winston-Salem tournament. In the U.S. Open he beat Gaël Monfils in the second round but lost for the second consecutive year to Philipp Kohlschreiber in the third round. 2014, 8th ATP title, Isner began his season at the 2014 Hopman Cup with countrywoman Sloane Stephens, starting strong with a win over Spain. However, the pair then lost their next 2 ties against France and the Czech Republic, respectively. 1 week later, he won the 2014 Heineken Open, defeating Liu Yensun in the final in 2 tiebreak sets. At the 2014 Australian Open, he faced Martin Clear 3/4 in the first round, but after losing the first 2 sets, he ultimately retired due to an ankle injury. Isner then reached the semi-finals of the Delray Beach International Tennis Championships, losing to eventual champion Marin Oier in straight sets. At the 2014 Indian Wells Masters, Isner received a bye into round 2, after which he defeated Nikolay Davydenko, Liu Yensun, Fernando Verdasco, and Ernest Gulbis en route to the semi-finals, where he would face Novak Djokovic in a rematch of their 2012 semi-final. However, this time Isner lost in 3 sets. The semi-final run in Indian Wells did however secure him a return to the top 10. At the Miami Masters, Isner again received a bye into round 2, where he faced and beat countryman Donald Young. He then defeated Nicolas Mahut in the third round, only to lose to Tomaso Berdych in the fourth round. In Houston, he was defending a title, but lost his first match in the second round to Dustin Brown. With the points he lost, he slipped out of the top 10 to a ranking of number 11. In Madrid, he teamed up with Tomaso Berdych in the doubles draw. In singles, he made it to the third round, where he lost to David Ferrer. He went down in the first round at the Rome Masters 1000. In Nice the week before the French Open, he made it to the quarter-finals, where he was defeated by Argentine Federico Delbonis. At Roland Garros, he reached a fourth round, where he went down to Berdych. He did not play a grass tune-up tournament before Wimbledon. Longest match in history. At the 2010 Wimbledon Championships, Isner faced qualifier Nicolas Mahut in the first round. Isner won the match 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70-68. In the match, Isner set the record for most aces in a match, breaking Ivo Karlovia's record of 78. Mahut passed the old mark as well. Isner set a new record of 112 aces, ahead of the 103 aces served by Mahut. At 21:13 BST on June 23 the match was suspended due to darkness for a second day at 59:59 in the fifth set. The match resumed on June 24, at 15:30 BST, starting the third day of the match. Overall, the match lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes. Isner also set the record for most games won in a Wimbledon match with 92. The match brought Isner a measure of fame, particularly in the United States. He had guest appearances on Good Morning America, and The Late Show with David Letterman, and threw the ceremonial first pitch at a New York Yankees game in Yankee Stadium. He and Mahut also won the 20 Tennis SPY Award for Best Record-Breaking Performance in Sport. Playing style and equipment, Isner has an extremely powerful and consistent serve, thanks in part to his 6-foot, 10-inch height which makes him the second tallest player on tour behind Ivo Karlovia. Commentators have also praised his composure. In 5 consecutive third-set tiebreaker wins in Washington, he delivered huge serves when it mattered most. Isner also has a very powerful forehand, which he uses in tandem with his serve. Isner will often go for 1-2 points, a big serve followed up by a big forehand. He is also known to back up his serves with approaches to the net, though he does not strictly serve and volley. Isner's movement around the court is hampered by his body and he is hurt by players that move him around the court. Isner's fitness has improved considerably throughout the years, as he displayed during his win in the longest tennis match ever at Wimbledon against Nicolas Mahut. As of January 2012, Isner is sponsored by Lacoste and Prince for his attire and rackets respectively. Personal life: Isner started playing tennis seriously at age 11 under the tutelage of Oscar Blackett and Rob Stevens. He played competitively for West Swimmen Tennis Club in Greensboro throughout his childhood. He is a graduate of Walter Hines Page Senior High School, in Greensboro, and the University of Georgia, where he majored in speech communication. He currently resides in Tampa, Florida, where he trains at the Saddlebrook Academy alongside other American tennis pros such as James Blake and Mardy Fish. Records: these records were attained in the Open era of tennis. Other records: 212-114 career record in tiebreaks, significant finals, Masters 1000 finals, singles, 2, doubles, 3, ATP career finals, singles, 17, doubles, 6, team finals. In January 2011, Isner teamed with Bethany Matk-Sands for the USA, and they reached the mixed doubles Hopman Cup final. They won 6-1, 6-3, against Justine Henin and Ruben Beememans of Belgium. Singles performance timeline, updated till the end of 2013 US Open. Doubles performance timeline, updated till 2012 US Open. Top 10 wins per season, wins over top 10 players per season, head-to-head record against other players. Isner's win-loss record against players who have been ranked world number 10 or higher is as follows. Players who have been ranked world number 1 are in bold. References. External links: official personal website, official professional website, John Isner at the Association of Tennis Professionals, John Isner at the International Tennis Federation, John Isner at the Davis Cup, John Isner Tennis Gear.